Hey guys, so this week on Patreon, if you sign up for $1 level, you can listen to us talking about Guy Ritchie's latest film, The Gentleman. We all know that Ricardo went to see it back in January, but I got a chance to see it recently, and we have some things to talk about. So go to patreon.com/minorityopinions, sign up for $1 level, and you can listen to that wonderful spoiler-tastic discussion. Thanks, guys. Well, hello and welcome to the program. This is Minority Opinions Podcast. I am Hito.
And I am Ricardo.
And we hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy and wearing a mask. This is a very difficult time, very strange times, but we're going to get through it. We're going to be okay. How you doing, man? How are things over there in the United States?
You know, it's pretty confusing over here. It's like you're frozen in time. It's 2020, but it feels like it's still, March 25th. It still feels like it. Like nothing has changed. The only difference is it's weird to go outside and wear a mask. A fashion statement is wearing a mask now. And I go to Starbucks more often than I used to. So that's my life.
Cool. Are you wearing any interesting masks? Like, I know people are getting creative with their masks.
Yeah. Do you know you know what loteria is, right?
A what?
Loteria, like Mexican bingo.
No.
So for our Latino audiences, it's like a little bingo board, except like the icons on it are like different Latino imagery. Like there's La Escalera, like it's a ladder. It's just a ladder. There's El Cola. It's like a knockoff Coca-Cola bottle. There's some outdated ones, 2 or 3. I can't say on the podcast, but I mean it's just one's a lady, one's a gentleman, and then one I'm not gonna say because I don't know how people feel about it. But it's like traditional stuff. And I got one. It's like a little devil. Like he's holding like a little fork. His little tail. It's like El Diablito. And I was like, I want that mask. So I bought a new one because, support your local businesses with mask making. Oh my God. I was at the beach recently because my friend wanted to go to this overpriced white restaurant called Earth Cafe. I don't know if you heard of that.
Never heard of them.
It's this bullshit vegan place. You go in, it's like all our food is organic and vegan, and they throw like rhinestones at you. It's all natural and has no dairy or gluten. I was like, oh, so it's gonna taste like shit. And I ordered an egg sandwich, and I was waiting in line, and this girl walks in. I was like, oh, she's kind of pretty, and she's wearing like a Supreme mask, like a face mask. And I was like, okay, shut up. I was like, shut up, girl. I mean, dude, come on, it's a piece of cloth. I mean, yeah, you. Okay, flex on me. Fine. That's fine. I get it. But I don't know. It's weird knowing that I'm wearing a $2,000 jacket. I have a $4 million car. I have a $200 face mask. It's like, dude, of all things. I don't know. And the food was shit. It was really bad. But that's a different topic.
So that vegan place had an egg sandwich?
It's like cafe food, like San Francisco, they have coffee, sandwiches, little pizzas. I ordered an egg sandwich because I like remember like Harley Quinn, the egg sandwich she gets. Imagine that, but it's only egg, tomato, and spinach, and the bread's dry and not tasty. And my friend Francisco, he ordered like a margarita pizza. It's like margarita pizza is supposed to have onion, tomato, and a jalapeno. Not jalapeno, but like green bell pepper. It was like the size of a children's pizza plate. And he's a big guy. Like he's a football player and a swimmer. And he's like, Ricky? I was like, what? He's like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, that's your dinner, apparently. He ate it he pulled, it's like the four slice. He pulled one, ate it, and he's like, it tastes awful. And I was like, oh God. It cost $39, for an
Wow.
for an egg sandwich, a margarita pizza, and a matcha latte that I got for $39.
That's a lot.
What are these white people thinking in Laguna Beach? What are they thinking?
Oh, it's in Laguna Beach? Oh, God.
Yeah, no, dude.
Okay.
I give a lot more benefit to the doubt in rich communities than I do. Like, people are like, eat the rich. I'm like, well, they got some cool stuff sometimes. And I go to this restaurant, I'm like, wow, it tastes like shit. And then we went down the street. There was like a lonely Taco Bell, and we're like, yeah, we'd rather eat Taco Bell than this bullshit vegan place.
I mean, like, I'm still, like, confused that a vegan place had an egg sandwich. Because that's not vegan. Vegans don't eat eggs.
I mean, it's like, even they want to sell as much as possible. So they did have like meat products, but then I think they're like reducing the amount. Like, it's like fair trade, organic. It's not mentally abused meat, like stuff like that.
Then it's not a vegan place anymore.
I don't know. I'd rather eat mentally abused chicken. That tastes better. That's just me. But it's
Jesus.
I don't know. That's just me. If you go to Mexico, they'll just be like, "Yo, what do you want?" It's like, "Can I get chicken?" Okay, bah! Just cuts the head off, and they're like, "All right, there you go." And I'm like, "Thanks, Chief. That's dinner. That's dinner." My dad. I was like, "Papa, do you want anything?" He's like, "I'm good." And I was like, "I get it. I'm not going to start anything. I get it."
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ricardo is for animal cruelty.
Only when it benefits me.
Wow.
Homie, dude, you all eat dolphins over there. What are you talking about?
Dolphins? I don't eat dolphins. I don't know anybody who eats dolphins.
Didn't you watch The Cove? Remember that piece of striking filmmaking?
People eat whales here, not dolphins.
They eat dolphins. That's a thing.
Okay, I'm sure I haven't seen that movie, but I'm sure there's a community of stupid ass fishermen who capture dolphins over here and eat them, but normal people don't eat dolphins, okay? We don't go to sushi restaurants and order a fucking dolphin. I've never seen that.
I'm saying if you're in part of the island and you're like, "Yo, I am starving. What can we eat?" Okay, what do we have? We have fish, rice, seaweed, and this meat. What can we eat? Okay, just eat the meat. We need to survive. I get it, but it's just like, homie, there's a Walgreens down the street. Buy something else. You know? Again, hashtag I'm not a food, what would you call that? A food advocate? I don't know what I would call that. Like, I'm not an expert on food politics. I don't know what I would call that term. I don't know. Like,
hashtag Ricardo would gladly chop off a chicken's head.
it keeps it more fresh. I had a goat brain taco one time. That was pretty intense. It was at a party. It was like every junction there's like one old man where everyone's like, "Oh my god, he was in the war," or he was there. I'm like, "During when?" "He was there." I was like, "Oh, okay." He had like a goat. The goat was already dead, but he's like I have enough goat brain for 2 tacos. Who is brave enough to eat it? And I was like, "Me." And he was like, "Oh, who are you the son of?" And I was like, "Jesus." He's like, "Oh, Jesus." And I was like, yeah. That's my dad's name. I was like, "Yeah, that's his name." And he's like, "You're a brave young man." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I ate it, and I was like, "That's pretty good." He's like, "Oh," he didn't blink. Oh, he's like, you're not like those other young men these days who are scared to eat it." I was like, "Homie, I'd like to try new foods. What do you want about?"
I'm a little grossed out. I know you guys can't see me, but I'm a little grossed out.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure if I travel anywhere else, they're like, "Hey, we love to eat this specific thing." I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Yeah, people over here, some people, I don't, but some people over here eat horse meat. And I never understood the appeal of it. But hey, to each their own, I guess.
It's just, hey, what if you date somebody and it's like, "Hey, babe, come over." It's like, "What are you having? Horse meat?" And it's like, babe, I'd rather eat McDonald's than eat a if there's one thing people should know, I hate McDonald's. So it's like I'd rather eat McDonald's than a horse. You know, there's in England, they eat tomatoes for breakfast. Did you know that?
Tomatoes for breakfast? I thought they only eat potatoes. Ha, stereotypes.
Racist. Bigot.
They're mostly white. Come on.
Bigot.
There is nothing harmful about me, an Asian, talking shit about a country which is populated by mostly white people.
Words hurt, Hito.
What?
Words hurt. Stick and stones may break my bones, but words can last a lifetime.
I don't care.
Well, that's your problem then. But yeah, Britain, they eat beans, tomatoes, and ham for breakfast. I had it one time. It's pretty good. I don't know if I recommend it, but it's pretty good.
I've been to England once, and yeah, the food was not great.
Yeah, they're not the best food, I will say. People over there, I have a friend in England. They're like, she's like, oh, I love the food here, and I was like, I mean, because you live there, you have no choice. You know what movie we watched that talks about that pretty well?
Are you seriously asking me what movie I watched, or is this your poor segue into our conversation?
Yeah, this is my first segue for First Cow.
Okay, yes, First Cow. So this is the great Kelly Reichardt's latest film, and it came out in the U.S. in March or something. And it was in theaters for like a week, and now it's available on VOD. And you can watch it on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, any content providers. And you should, because this is a pretty great film. So this is set in Oregon in the early 19th century. And John Magaro plays Cook, who is traveling through the Pacific Northwest with a group of fur trappers. And he arrives at this, a town, something that resembles a town civilization. So he decides to stay. Yeah, he decides to stay for a little bit. And he befriends a Chinese immigrant played by Orion Lee. And they start a small business by stealing milk from this rich ass white guy. He owns this rich ass white guy played by Toby Jones. He has a cow because he wants milk in his tea, and these two guys are like, well, we're gonna steal this milk from this cow, and we're gonna sell oily cakes because. Yeah, small businesses. They want to start up a business, and this is a movie about American dream, and it's also about this beautiful friendship, and it's in the true Kelly Reichardt's fashion. It's quiet, it's slow, it's tender, but you are a first time Kelly Reichardt, person.
Yeah. I never heard of Kelly. I've seen her her films on Criterion, but if it was kind of like a Joanna Hogg, like that first movie, unless I've seen that first movie come out, then I know of their existence. It's people have Scorsese, Tarantino, everyone kind of knows their names because they're thrown around so much. Kelly Reichardt, she seems like the indie queen. I've never heard of her. But now, since I've First Cow, is this her first, would you say her first major hit? Not major hit, but her first big production, mainly because A24 is behind it?
The most mainstream film of hers was not last year, the one before this film. It was called Certain Women. It's got Kristen Stewart, Michelle Williams, Laura Dern, star-studded cast. Yeah, so I think that is her most mainstream film. This one, I think she's back on her little indie corner community.
All right, so I will start with my not a gripe, but only one critique I have of this film. I'm like, I did not like that.
Okay.
Everything else, I think it did a pretty good job. I think the first hour is a bit slow.
All right.
I think it takes a very long time for the main like story / plot to begin. Because in the beginning, you learn about Cookie. He's kind of a wimp. He gets bullied by the trappers, and he gets pushed over. And you're like, oh my god, this poor man. And he's making a bunch of food. He gets mushrooms. He flips a salamander, and I'm like, oh, he's a sweet guy. I love him. I don't think it's until he meets what's his name, King Fu, or
King Lu.
That's really where the momentum starts. Where they're like, hey, I have an idea. And then you see Evie the cow, and I'm like, yes, this is what I'm here for. I'm here for the cow. I think this movie is very subtle and very minimalistic in how it tells you the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just by seeing the first interactions, what you know how like in dialogue, there's like dialogue where it's kind of like, let's say it's like an old movie. They're like, the guys can get the bomb and drop it in the river. And you're like, oh, okay, I get what's happening. They think we're dumb. This one's more like, oh, can you get your trappers and throw that mushroom in the pot, you punk bitch. I'm like, oh, whoa, he's bullying him. You get it. You just by them interacting, you get who's who. I get like the first hour. Are her films like known for like slow character development? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
That's her thing. It's like somebody. I learned this term in film school, but her films are considered slow cinema. Which sounds like an insult, but it is true. Like all of her movies unfold at the speed of life, and it takes its time, and it's not for everybody. But I think the way she establishes her world is so distinct.
It reminded me a lot of the Joanna Hoggs movies because they're exactly the same. Where you're sitting there, you're like, this is lovely. I'm having a good time. And I mean, if you want to, because it's a 2-hour long film. I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it was hard for me to sit there and just be like, okay, does the cow get a shotgun or something? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, but then when you get John Magro and Orion Lee just bonding with each other, like it has that core storytelling idea. Like American Dream-esque, where it's like two men want to make it big and they're going to work hard to get it. No matter what century it is, no matter what era it is, that story is always going to be relatable to people. And then the best part is like, even though like it's just two guys, like two immigrants, fucking over the rich people, everyone loves that shit. We all love that. It's like, let's go steal this milk. And then they're like, and he's like whispering to the cow, like, hey man, how's it going? You're doing pretty good for us. I'm like, dude, this is great. I love this. It just really shows like how simple storytelling can be sometimes. Like, it doesn't have to be like the most like Ultron's attacking and then like robots kapow. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that most of the time. Like, I feel like a new era, not era, but like I feel like since big IPs aren't really in theaters anymore, a lot of people are like craving those films, and movies like First Cow are like kind of like filling the void, and all of us are like, yes, like real food. Like we got some oil cakes now.
Which, by the way, those oily cakes, they look delicious.
God damn, my father's a baker, and I'm gonna show him that movie because it's imagine this audience. You get a donut. Hito told me this. They're like donuts. You throw in the fryer, it boils. You hear the crackling noise. He takes it out and he throws some honey on that. And all the British people are like, so exquisite, so delicate, so London-like.
I taste London in this.
That I think that was like the best line. I'm like, that is so heartwarming. Like, it really shows how like, maybe this is just my critique of the film, but like, nothing can beat the feeling of homemade when you're in a business. Nothing can beat authenticity in handmade stuff.
Yeah, I fucking love this movie so much. And if some of you are thinking, "Oh, that sounds like a, fanboy talk." Well, that's because I am. Kelly Reichardt is one of my like all-time favorite filmmakers. Is like if somebody asks me to list my top 5 favorite like American filmmakers like working right now, she'll be on the list too. I think she's one of the like few great indie filmmakers who hasn't lost her touch. So much of her movies have to with the tone and the mood and ready to drink. What's not said. It's not about things that are spoken verbally. It's just, it's all in the way the characters look at each other. It's all in the glances. It's all in the silences, the pauses between a conversation. And I think First Cow for me is more chatty compared to like a lot of her movies. Like a lot of her movies are just about, you can hear the wind blowing and the water trickling and people walking around. This one is like, hey, you want to make some like oily cakes? Yeah, sure. Do you want to get like, where do we get milks? Oh, that rich guy over there has a cow. We can totally use that milk. So it's like, there's so much communication between characters, and the way these two guys form this friendship is beautifully done. I also love a film that has a great sense of place. And you watch this movie and you can, smell the air, you can, feel that mud, you can feel the cold wind on your face. So it's great. The way she does it visually and also through the sound design, it's beautiful, just exquisite. And the performances are great. She's great with actors like all the time. If you look at any of her movies, you'll be like, yeah, everyone in this movie is great. And the cow, lovely cow.
Oscar.
Yeah, give an Oscar to Evie the cow. Yeah, it's a very simple film, and somebody on Letterboxd wrote that I love how Kelly Reichardt milks drama out of the simplest scenarios. And yes, that's exactly what it is. She's great. She's a great minimalist director. She's a very humanist director. This is not for everybody. Like, as with every single Kelly Reichardt film, you have to be on her wavelength to really appreciate what she's going for. And it's gonna feel extremely slow for some people, like extremely slow. Like I've met like this. Okay, this is off the topic just a little bit, but in one of my film classes, the lecturer, the professor, showed us a Kelly Reichardt film, A Certain Women, which I loved. And I was like, oh my God, I get to see this movie again. And on the day of screening, everyone was fucking bored. Like, and this is a crowd of like snobby ass film students whose favorite filmmakers are David Lynch and Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese and all these, white guys. And these guys watch a true master like Kelly Reichardt, and they're so bored. And we had a discussion afterwards, and they were like, this was so fucking boring. Nothing happened, which is the phrase that I absolutely hate because so much happens in her movies. And I basically, scolded them. I called them idiots, and that they knew nothing. Let's wrap this up. So thank you, Ricardo, for talking about First Cow with me. And thanks for all of you for listening to this episode. Go subscribe and review us on the Apple Podcasts. Follow us on whatever social media. Instagram is going away anyways. Follow us on TikTok, I guess.
TikTok?
And,
yeah, TikTok? You shill?
You can send us a letter to minorityopodcast@gmail.com. Sign up for our Patreon page. Sign up for the $1 level. You can listen to extended episodes every week. And yeah, follow Ricardo on Twitter. Just type in.
Not Twitter. I'm banning everyone from Twitter. I made it private. I don't want anybody canceling me. So Instagram,
Okay.
it's Ricky. What is it? I need to check right now. It's Ricky Ricardo _987. That's the only one I will legally let you people follow.
And we will see you all next week
On Minority Opinions Podcast.
Wow.
Moo.